Hello!
Hello, I'm Cathy.
I'm Rachel, and this is Lunabird Book Club. It is the 16th of February today, which means that the day before yesterday was Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. We thought that today, to mark the occasion of the love holiday, we would talk about our favourite romance books, or some romance books that we recommend.
Because Rachel can't pick her favourites. I'm going to start with a classic, Bridget Jones' Diary.
I have never read this.
If you can't tell, this cover's quite battered.
Oh, it is, isn't it? How many times have you read this thing?
I think this was Mum's originally, and then mine, and then obviously, like, this must have come out when the film did. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny because now I'm such a snob, I would never buy a book cover that had a film.
Sometimes there isn't another option.
Yeah, but back in whenever this came out, which I feel is like 2000, mm-hmm. I didn't care about things. I wanted to read the book. Yeah. I wanted to read the book. I read the book. I had no pretensions about it. It's got the cover, and now I think, oh, how vintage. Anyhow, Bridget Jones' Diary is like loosely based off Pride and Prejudice. Mm-hmm.
I've read that.
And Bridget works in publishing. She is kind of torn between fancying her womanising boss and a rather fussy lawyer barrister guy who's a bit standoffish. Oh. But the main thing, like, so that romance is there and it's really, really fun, but the book's told in the form of her diary entries, and they're really, really funny, and all the chapters are quite brief. Oh gosh, it even has pictures of the film inside.
Amazing.
Oh wow, I haven't reread this in a while. So it's kind of filled with what almost like Women's Magazine's issues were filled with in the 90s. So she's worried about her weight and being the only single friend amongst all of the married couples in her life, and trying to be a good feminist whilst also worrying about how she looks and how she comes across, and also just really wanting a boyfriend and throwing parties and stuff. It's really silly, it's fun, the romance is so sweet, and it's quite triumphant and happy, and there's bits of this that still make me laugh. One of my favourite parts of this is that she battles all the way through to get to a certain weight. I can't even remember what the weight is, and she does it and she's so happy, and then the next 3 days people keep telling her, you look really tired, are you well? And they think she's ill. I mean, it sounds really cruel now, but you should just, she shouldn't have bothered, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a really, really fun story, and I quite like my movie cover of it now.
Cute. Do you know what? I lied. I do have something to hold up, but I'll start with this one since it's in the room. I have picked. Let me put my cup on my knee. The Princess Bride by William Goldman. Now, I've only read this because I love the film so much. My dad is a massive nerd, and I was kind of brought up watching nerdy things like The Princess Bride. So I bought this to see what the actual novel was like, and I just think it's really cool. Do I like it because I love the film? Perhaps. So the Princess Bride novel, so it's kind of meta-y in that this guy read this story as a young kid, and then he's looking for it in the world. So it's The Princess Bride, S. Morgenstern's classic tale of true love and high adventure. The Good Parts version abridged by William Goldman. So it's kind of like the author is speaking to you at the beginning of finding this book or like relocating this book or something, this book that he was read as a kid. And there's something about divorce in there. Either his parents are divorced or he's getting divorced. I don't remember. And then he basically retells the story, but without all of the boring history of the countries that are involved. Like, apparently there's this bit where S. Morgenstern goes on this really long thing about something to do with Gilda or Florin or something really boring about it. A bit like Victor Hugo in Les Mis.
Yeah.
And then the story is retold by William Goldman, and it's just cute. Like for me, the OG farm boy princess story. It's got pirates in it. What's not to love? They go to a zoo of death instead of the pit of despair. So there are differences between it and the movie. Yeah. It's just really fun.
Okay, so my next one is one of like the tragic romance style. I feel like I've mentioned it on the vlog before. The Time Traveller's Wife. When I hear people talk about this book, I feel like it's quite divisive.
Sorry, I need to sneeze. I swallowed it. Sorry, please continue.
I thought you were going to like really loudly object to something there. But yeah, I'm realising that this book divides people. Some people find the romance either too soppy or a bit too weird or problematic. I love it. I love it. I want people to leave it alone and just enjoy it for what it is. So in The Time Traveller's Wife, you've got Henry, who has this weird genetic condition which forces him at random points to travel time. So he has no control over it. He'll be doing one thing and the next minute he's snapped either further or in his past, further in the future or into his past, and he just appears there absolutely naked and has to run around and like try and get clothes and try and not be seen and not get arrested or in trouble before he gets snapped back to his own timeline. And because of this, and he seems to, he can't control it, but he seems to be pulled back to some places more than others. He meets his future wife in kind of the wrong order, or she meets him in the wrong order. So because he loves her so much, he keeps ending up travelling back to her family home. So she knows him as she grows up. Because after they've married, he keeps going back. He must just be drawn to her. But he only meets her when he's 21. So it's all a bit complicated, but it follows like their life together all the way through. And there's some heartbreaking stuff that happens because they kind of meet in the wrong order. But they really, really love one another. And there's some really heart-moving sad bits. There's some bits about like, do they have a choice to be in love with one another, or have they been fated to be together? Does Claire have a choice because she's known this man since she was a child, and she kind of falls in love with him before he's met her? And older him has tried not to make her fall in love with him, but it's really hard because this magical man just keeps appearing in your house at random times, who clearly adores her, you know, will do anything for her. And that's why some people don't like it, but I love it. It makes me cry every time I read it.
Oh, Cathy.
I know, it's really beautiful, and yeah, just a heart-moving romance book. I love it, with a little bit of magic. Time Traveller's Wife.
Similarly, my next book is kind of sad, kind of themes of magic in there. So this is a book that I've read in the past, and I reread it again in preparation for this video just to remind myself of what happened in it. It's called Someday in Paris, and it is about a woman who comes from a family where the women in the family have dreams through their soulmate's eyes when they meet them. So once you've met your soulmate, you start having dreams, and sometimes they end up with a soulmate and sometimes they don't. People choose different paths. But our story starts with a lady called Dominique, who is in her 80s, I think, in 2019, and her granddaughter. She's written down her life story about the dreams, the reveries that the women in her family have for her granddaughter, just in case she experiences it, because she had all sons, so it didn't matter for her children, but her grandchildren, she wants her granddaughter to know about it. And then she gets a call from her granddaughter about a boy that she's been, or a man that she's been speaking to, and she says that she's had a dream about him, and then Dominique's like, oh, I need to tell her. So then the novel follows a girl called Zara, who you're in Paris in 1954, not Paris, you're in somewhere in France in 1954, and she meets this boy in a museum in the dark, and they have a conversation, and then the boy has to go and catch his train to his boarding school, and then she starts having dreams. And you follow Zara's life through the next, 30 years of her going in and out of meeting Leon, meeting other men, things like that. Plot twist, Zara is Dominique. So you find out very early on that, Dominique's talking about Zara, and then you flash back to the present, to 2019, to Dominique and her daughter granddaughter Valerie, something like that, talking about it, and Valerie's like, who is this Zara person? Why are we learning about her? And then it turns out it's Dominique. And there's paths cross and chances are missed, and it's like they've met and fate wants them to be together, but things keep getting in the way, other people keep getting in the way, and it's really sad. And there's so many different names, so many different identities. It's just, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really sweet. It's sad at times, and there's so much going on. It was really fun. It's really fun.
Okay, my last book is The Little Lady Agency by Hester Brown. This is like my favourite romantic comedy book.
Really?
Yeah,
I've never even heard of it.
Nobody's ever heard of it. It's got no following at all, but I love it and it makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I'll read the back because I think the back explains it better than I could. So it says, meet Melissa, a shy, homely gal who can bake the perfect sponge but can't find the perfect man. Her friends adore her, her posh, eccentric family ignore her. Meet Honey, a multitasking Mary Poppins in silk stockings, who, as owner of the Little Lady Agency, can make over a man faster than Trini and Susanna, and business is booming. So far, Melissa has kept her secret adventures as Honey separate from her home life. But when an intriguing new client requests her services on a regular basis, it becomes hard to tell where Honey ends and Melissa begins. So Melissa's got like a secret identity, and she can only seem to like take control of her life when she's in her Miss Honey persona. So there's lots of funny shenanigans. Her family are absolutely bonkers and very wealthy and live in like an estate somewhere off in the countryside. And she has a really lovely roommate, a guy called Nelson, who keeps making her like shepherd pies when she gets home from that.
Aww.
So like cute, really sweet, and it's a trilogy.
Oh, so have you read the other two?
I have. This is the best one still, and you can read it as a standalone and be happy. And then the other two is something like The Little Lady Agency in New York, and then one was The Little Lady Agency and the Prince. So they're all really fun, but this is my favourite, and I find it a real good comfort read and happy romance. I love it.
My last one is called The Charm Offensive. I don't have a copy of it because I borrowed it from the library. The Charm Offensive. This is a book about a reality TV show called Ever After, where there's a prince or a princess as the main person, and then there's 20 people who come to try and like be their next prince or princess. It's like The Bachelor, but with a royalty Disney kind of vibe to it. And this book is I'm giggling thinking about it. So the prince is a guy called Charlie, and he has come on the show to try and restore his reputation. He used to work in tech, but then he had a bit of a breakdown in the office one day and was ousted from his own company because people don't care about mental illness. And then so he's coming on the show to try and prove to everyone that he can function in society and should like still get a job. And then there's Dev, who is a producer on the show, and Dev has watched the show since he was young, and he thinks like, oh, this is true love, this is where dreams are made, this is the pinnacle of love, and people fall in love on this show and it's great. And Dev and Charlie, so Dev's the producer and Charlie's the lead star, and then they fall in love. And yeah, it was really sweet, it was really wholesome. Obviously the trope of being on this reality TV show is great. And then so Charlie's got OCD and Dev struggles with depression, and it was just a really nice nod to people who struggle with mental health and the fact that they can still have fulfilling relationships, not just with a romantic person but with platonic relationships with their friends. Like a lot of the other production team on the show really care about Dev and what he's going through, because there's a bit in the novel, #spoilers, where he really struggles and he doesn't get out of bed for like 2 days and comes to set unwashed and unshowered because he's really struggling with his depressive episode. And it's just his friends all rally around him to bring him back, and it was just, I really liked it. Those are our 6 recommendations for this Valentine's week. I think we've got a good range of different styles there, and yeah, let us know your favourite romance books down below. We release videos every Friday. I can't remember what's coming next week, but tune in. We'll have more content for you. Remember to like and subscribe, and have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
I'm Cathy.
I'm Rachel, and it's not quite Valentine's Day.
And this is also Lunabird Book Club.
Oh, yes. I forgot. Oliver always does
Sure,
it.
it's not.
We're lost without her.
She's a glue that holds us together.